Hello, and how are you doing? Thank you so much for choosing to be here. Welcome to video five. And before I jump into it, allow me to give a typical or what has become typical disclaimer here. I am not a health professional. I am not a psychiatrist. I'm not a therapist. I'm not a psychologist. Um, I am sharing these videos, this information, this knowledge, this set of tools as somebody who has gone through addiction, as somebody who has used these very tools to assemble and stack up 12 years of sobriety. Yeah, well, just under 12 years. I'm like a month away from that. So I'm sharing this information as first person user. Um, this is meant to be a blueprint that you can take and move around, customize, and set up to fit your circumstances. And I have made sure that within these videos is the value and tools that you need to make your journey into addiction recovery that much easier. Yeah, I wish I could completely make it easy and effortless. But this too is engaging. It requires sacrifice. It requires concentration on your part. But that's why I am putting together these videos. All right, then. So, video five, and it's going to be the last one on the subject and topic of forgiveness. This one is seeking forgiveness. There are those people who whose forgiveness we simply must seek. People who we hurt, disrespected, and possibly betrayed during the moments of pain and deep unconsciousness in our active addiction. Uh, my list for this particular activity was huge. My list had over 200 people. Sorry. I'm not sure what has changed. The stool feels different. My list had over 200 people. Okay, there might not be much value in sharing the things that I did to these people, but I knew that I needed to seek their forgiveness. I needed to make amends. Again, if you've gone through the AA process, or if you went to a rehabilitation center that had AA and NA as its foundation, then you know this is one of the 12 steps of Alcoholics Anonymous, seeking forgiveness. For me, some of these people I had verbally insulted, others I had used in the intensity of my selfish desires, others I had promised things that I did not do. Owing to how expansive my list was, it took me the better part of 2 years to go through my entire list. In order for us to fully take advantage of this particular area, seeking forgiveness, there are a couple of things that I need to set up just to give you the highest chance of success here. So allow me to lay that down. I'm hoping that I'll be able to lay down effectively within a short period of time. If you have been through the Alcoholics Anonymous process, or if you've been to a rehabilitation center, AA driven, you've possibly gone through this. You will find that some of the people you need to make amends with have passed away, or despite your best efforts, can't seem to locate them or their contact information. In those cases, we should present our amends and apologies to a higher power. Um, and we also find that there are those people who genuinely do not want to hear from you, and that's fine too. Those amends to you make them to a higher power um, instead of seeking to make amends with them directly. A couple of things I want to do here. One of the step that talks about amends says that we made amends where we needed to, and less to do so would harm somebody else. When you've reached out to somebody to try and make amends and they do not want to hear from you, to try and push it beyond that is to cause harm to them. You may also find that maybe something you did to someone had such a traumatic experience to them that to contact them would be to harm them all over again. These are the types of amends that we are advised to present to a higher power. So I I don't consider myself a particularly religious guy. I'm spiritual. I try to focus more on growing spiritually instead of following religious dogma. That said, allow me to say this. For the process I'm detailing in these videos to be as effective um, for you as it's been for me, you've got to believe in something bigger than yourself. At this stage, I will borrow the definition of a higher power according to Alcoholics Anonymous because it's beautifully put. A higher power can be anything at all that the member, you and I, believes is adequate. Reported examples include 12 steps group. Your 12-step group can be, so that collective can be your higher power. Nature, consciousness, existential freedom, God, science, Buddha. It is frequently stipulated that as long as a higher power is greater than the individual, then the only condition is that it should also be a loving and caring higher power. I hope that breaks it down again. Just to make sure that it is grounded, allow me to read that one more time. A higher power can be anything at all that the member believes is adequate. Reported examples include the 12 steps group, nature, consciousness, existential freedom, God, science, Buddha. It is frequently stipulated that as long as a higher power is greater than the individual, then the only other condition is that it should be loving and caring. Your higher power has got to be loving and caring. I will not dwell on this topic too long. I will simply recommend that you engage a higher power of your choosing for this process. This material will work regardless of your religious background. It will, however, need for you to believe in a force greater than yourself. I'll also say you need to be patient with this process. Like I said, mine took 2 years. And this is not 2 years where I was taking short breaks in between to recuperate. I was steadfast with this process for 2 years. There are, how many are there? I think there are two people, possibly three. It's been a while. It's been 12 years. No, it's been 10 years since I did this. But I think there were two, possibly three people who I wasn't able to make amends with. Um, One passed away. One um, fell into that condition we're talking about where to reach out to them would be to cause them harm. They had moved on with their lives. They were doing amazing things for themselves. And this particular individual, long before I came seeking forgiveness, had communicated to me on Facebook Messenger and told me that they know that I am not who I have portrayed to be in my behavior, and they forgive me for what I did to them. Um, so based on the fact that she had already released that and she already knew that I was struggling and I was ill, I was unwell, and the fact that I did not want to have to peel back a really bad wound that I had caused, and she had moved on, I did not seek amends with that one. And the third person refused to hear anything from me. And so those are the ones that I used. I took this to my higher power. Allow me to say something about my higher power. I believe in God 100%. And I'm not saying that you must believe the way I do in order for this to work. I'm just letting you know exactly how this has played out for me. I believe in a loving God. I believe now more than ever, I am more grounded in my spiritual walk today than at any other point in my life. Um, but at the onset, when I was doing or going about seeking amends. I also had religious wounds, man. I'd grown up in a Christian home and went to a Christian school and worked in a church as one of my first jobs immediately after high school. And there's just some stuff that happened that made me feel some type of way about religion. It's taken 10 years to deal with those. Um, but back then, I was lucky in the sense that the things that happened between me and church, I did not categorize God to be part of that. Yeah, I was able to separate God from all that. So long after I stopped going to church, I still had the ability to talk to God as I had understood Him, and it worked wonders for seeking amends. So, how I propose or suggest that you go about this is you want to start by writing a list. Again, if you've been through rehabilitation, AA-based rehabilitation, they've walked you through how to do this, but you need to put together a list of people. And how I went about remembering everyone is I took my mind as far back as I could to when I really first started drinking and being a crazy person. And I tried to remember the relationships and the people I had in my life at that stage, and the people I needed to seek amends from started popping up, and I wrote that list down. So that's how I did it. Trying to go as far back as when your addiction began, and just looking at the environment you are in at that stage, the people you are involved with, the people you are working with, living with, etc., and see what names pop up, and keep doing that backward until where you are, or at least until when you got off active addiction. These amends, don't expect them to be cut and dry. Don't expect that a simple "I'm sorry" will do it. They need to be honest. They need to come from a real place. How I went about this is when I reached out to the person. So I'll either, if I don't have your contact, I'll reach out to you on Facebook and ask if we could have a chat, or email them, or I went about it any way I could to get just a few minutes with this person. What I did is I first explained to them that everything I did to them, or everything that I said that hurt them, I did at the height of my addiction illness. And I also explained to them that I wasn't using the addiction as an excuse to be a butthole. I was just stating a fact. I was sick. And the reason I am here talking to you today is because I recognize now that I treated you poorly, that I did some stuff that was nasty, or stuff that you are not deserving of. And in fact, in many cases, I literally framed out the very thing I did. Um, one of the byproducts of using cocaine the way I did is I lost pockets of memory. So in moments when I could vaguely remember that I had wronged someone, but I could not remember exactly what I did, I reached out to other people within that clique or within those environments who were present. And, just tell them, yo, my guy, I know I messed up this person. I just don't remember exactly how. Would you be so kind as to please help me remember? And I did that. And then I would literally frame it to the person so that they understand that I'm not just here seeking blanket forgiveness from you. I know exactly what I know exactly how I wronged you, and I know exactly what I'm seeking your forgiveness for. Some are harder than others, admittedly. The hardest one by far, again, this is in staying true to being as honest and as transparent as possible, so that you may be able to gain some context from my own life and be able to apply in your own. One of the, in fact, the hardest um, bit of amends I had to seek out was with my then girlfriend, now mother of my children. My God. Um, I had betrayed her in just about every way that it's possible to betray a human being. I had betrayed her trust. I had betrayed her love. I had betrayed her belief in me, her belief in the life we're trying to build. Um, Let me just go even deeper. Before leaving rehab the first time, one of the things that I had to do before I went home, because I left the house that she and I shared to go into rehab, and I was going back to that house when I got out of rehab. I asked to have blood work done to scan for any um, sexually transmitted diseases that are out there. Yeah. And they ran some very, very precise blood work. And it so much so that I had to come back, I think, about a week later. So the rehab had taken me to hospital, to Nairobi Hospital, where they ran these tests. And I remember I remember going for those results about a week later, and the lady who the doctor who shared the results with me before she even handed them to me told me, I can tell that you've been through some stuff. And she said, number one, you have nothing. And first of all, I was like, what? We've everything. We ran everything. You're negative for everything. And I asked, is it possible to run them again? And she said, we ran them 3 times because nobody just walks in and asks for everything to be tested. So we needed to be sure. So they ran it 3 times. And she told me, whatever you've been through that has made you want to run these many tests, it looks like God has allowed you to get away with it. This is grace. Um, Maybe don't waste it. These tests were done 2 or 3 weeks before I went home. The hardest conversation I've ever had to sit through was to sit down with my girlfriend and tell her that I'd messed up. I first gave her the results and told her, number one, I don't know if you ever want to be with me again. I don't know if I'm even somebody that you'd consider building a life with again. But number one, so these are the results of my blood work. And number two, I explained exactly how I knew I had hurt her. And of course, it was difficult for her and it was emotional. But I knew that I would have wronged her all over again if I failed to do that. And I did. And I'm not saying it will work the same way for you. I hope it does. But me and this person have 2 children today. Seeking forgiveness means taking full ownership of our bad behavior, irrespective of the fact that the reason why we behaved the way we did was beyond our control. We were sick, but we do not use the sickness as a scapegoat. We say, you know what? Yes, I was sick, but I take full responsibility for everything I said and did. It's that level of stepping up and showing this person, I'm not doing this because it's easy. I'm not doing this because I want you to throw forgiveness my way. I'm doing this because I know it's the right thing to do. As you do that over and over again with however many people you have on your list, I can't explain how, or something shifts inside. that goes towards the very first thing we spoke about, self-forgiveness. As these people begin to look at you and see the change in you and begin to see that you are honest and true and honest, they tell you, I could tell you are not well. In many of my cases, guys told me, I knew you are not well. I'm just glad that you're okay now, and I'm glad that you are able to remember to come and seek my forgiveness. And they would release that forgiveness my way. And this happened for me over 200 times. And I think it's that part of the reason how I got free from everything is going through that process. The only thing that I might add here maybe is to say, don't get tempted to rush it in order to have it done because it's uncomfortable. You'd rather even take short 2-week breaks in between, but keep going until it's done. That discomfort and that very process of doing it over and over again is going to be a huge part of your recovery. It's going to loose you. It's going to free you. This forgiveness that we've spoken about at such length, the moment you're done with it conclusively, you will begin to realize that a lot of the stuff that you used to feel the need to numb will have gone away. And that's really what we are seeking. We're seeking a life beyond the pain that was caused to us, that was caused by us to others and caused by us to ourselves, to release it. So we may begin to make sense of why we're even here. Friend, we are not here to just be born and experience the challenging ordeals of life and get old and die. We're here to discover who we are. We're here to discover the purpose for which we were designed. And I promise you, it's very difficult to undergo the process of making that discovery if you're already saturated in pain that has been caused to you or by you. It's not going to be an easy process, but I promise you it's going to be one of the most important processes in your recovery long term. Remember that time when I relapsed? This is the part I didn't do conclusively. I took shortcuts with this forgiveness chapter the first time. And after 115 days in rehab, I didn't even manage 2 months sober on the outside because of this part. Learn from my mistake. Take this forgiveness thing, this chapter, forgiveness towards yourself, forgiveness that you need to give to people who failed you, and forgiveness that you must seek. Take it seriously. Give it your all, and I promise you, your life will never be the same. Allow me to cut here before I make this another hour video. If you're in video 5 and you've watched from video 1 and you keep coming back for more, number one, you should feel very proud of yourself because you demonstrate commitment. You demonstrate that you want it. You're hungry for it and you're going after it. Man, thank you. Again, it's you. It's you I came to serve. You're the reason why I'm in an empty room talking to a camera because it's you I came looking for. And I pray that the giver of great gifts may just give your life depth, healing, and amazing discovery. May you expound on the possibilities of who you are to no end. And may you experience fulfillment like you've never experienced it before. Keep coming back, it works. Keep coming back, it works. And allow me to finish this video with a serenity prayer, which I have on my wall always. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, courage to change the things that I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. See you on the next one.